Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another class. And how has our week been? Hope you had an amazing week, and we're enjoying ourselves so far with the task. So today we are going to continue from where we stopped in our last class. And on Wednesday, we started by designing different templates, different elements for our design system. We touched the color template. We also touched the layout grid. We touched accessibility in design, color, layout grid, and all that before we ended the class for that day. So today we are going to continue from where we stopped. Please, before we get started properly, I would like to get your reaction in the chat. How ready you are for today's class. Okay, Econ, yeah, cool. I know. Okay, ready. Right. Okay. Okay. Okay, we are all ready, so let's just get started. We'll be able to cover a whole lot today. So in our last class, we came up with different colors for our style guide. And we looked at the primary color, secondary color, asset color, error color, success color, warning color, and our black color. Then we also generated colors manually and also generated colors with our plugin, foundation plugin. Then we went ahead and we talked about accessibility when it comes to color, checking for colors that pass the accessibility test. They also went ahead to do the layout grid for different screens, the mobile, the desktop, and the tablet frame. So today we are going to continue our style guide with spacers. And spacers in design help us to know the spacing between items, and also that's very important for you and your developer to understand the spacing that you are putting in between elements. Elements that are closer together should have a specific spacing. Elements that are not closely related should actually have different spacings. It's actually very important for you to put it in your design system and work with it. So if we are all ready, please let's type ready in the chat. Okay, so I need to stop sharing and share again. So sorry. Okay. Can we see the screen now?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. So we're going to be starting with spacers. Actually, spacers actually help us to understand the spacing between elements in our design. I actually help the developers when developing to understand the kind of spacing that you put in between elements that are related and elements that are not related, and general spacing of your mobile app or your website entirely. In our last class, I said something about 4-point layout grid, where you had to do it multiple of 4, and in the 8 grid system, where you had to do it a multiple of 8. So whatever you stick with, you have to continue with it. So in our last class, we started with the 4-point grid system, where everything that we are working with, you have to start from 4, a multiple of 4, divisible by 4, and all that. So to get started, I will just take a rectangle here, or I think we just work with frame. I'll just take a frame here. So I'm going to change the width and the height of this frame to 4 to actually show that the elements, okay, for example, if you're writing in your frame, I want maybe to put a header text and a subheading text, it's always advisable to know the kind of spacing that you want to put in between your header and your subheader, and you have to be consistent with it. So the smallest spacing we are going to have, so let me just name this for pixel, right? So the smallest spacing we are going to have, because it's a multiple of 4, it's actually 4. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color here to something. Yeah, this is actually okay. Let me zoom in a little. Okay. Um, um, so I'm going to, this one should be 8. We add 8. Okay. And that's it. I'm going to just quickly make it fast for us. So, okay. Um, 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 I'm just going to be duplicating this and be adding our multiple of 4 to this. The next thing we are going to have is 12, 12. So I'm going to just change it here, 12, 12. So you're going to continue like that. So with this spacing, be able to like tell your developer the kind of spacing that you want in between your elements in your screen and all that. So the next one we're going to have is 12. So I think I will just actually, this one should be 16, like that. I think we should just keep it together. So let me just arrange it a little. Like to, I think we should keep it like this for now. Yeah. So this one will change it to 16. Mm. This one should be 20. You're going to continue like that till you get the largest spacing that you want to have between elements in your design. This one should be 20 pixel, and this one should be 24 multiple of 4. Okay. I'm going to change this to 24. This to 24. Um, 28. So I'll just go, I will not continue to the end. I will just do for maybe 40 and all that. But it's always advisable to like do all of them so that you be able to like know the spacing that you're going to put in between elements. Yeah, so I just say this one should be 40. Okay, let's just do 32. Then we can add the 40 and then stop right there. one is 28. So let's change it. Okay, so you're going to continue to multiple of 4 till you get to the largest size that you want in your design. So that's actually that about, let me just put this in auto layout. So to put elements in auto layout, actually shift A, but I will get to that. I'm going to duplicate this and just change this to 40. 40. I'm changing the height and the width of the frame. So this one should actually be 44. Yeah. So I'll just do the big one. Let's just say 64 for now. So with this now, if the developers come to your design system, they'll be able to like, okay, these are the spacing that Chiamaka used, and you have to like check how I used it, and then they can now implement it from there. Okay, I think we are good. No question in the chat. All right. So the next thing we are going to look at is icons. Because you're going to see how to like add icons to your design system. So I'm going to bring this down soon. And possibly put it like this. Bring it. Just put it like this for me now. To reduce this. Echo, may I have a question? Please make it fast.
Can you hear me, ma?
If I can hear you, go ahead.
Okay, I don't understand the spacers as in this thing that is used to represent the spacers. I don't understand the relationship. I don't know if
The relationship is okay, I say the relationship is all right. You know, in your design, you have to like identify the kind of spacing you're supposed to put in between elements. If you're having tests like the header test and the subheading test, what kind of spacing do you want to put in between header test and subheading test? In a situation where you have an image and a text, what kind of spacing do you want to put in between the image and the text? You understand? So it's basically, this spacing is not even for you as a designer. It's mainly for your developers to understand the spacing that you put in between items. When we start designing, you get to see how spacing are being used in design. Is that clear?
okay, thank you, ma. Yes.
Right. Let me just quickly just show us a practical example. So let's see frog. I think there's this website that opened today too. It's a website. So if, as a developer, when he comes on your design, so we're looking at it as a design. When he comes here, you'll be able to know the kind of spacing that you put in between elements. Elements that are related. What kind of spacing do you put in between them? Like you have a header test here, and you have a subheading test, a body test here. The kind of space in between here. Your designers can actually, your developer can actually check your design system and get to understand, okay, when Econ was designing similar elements like a header and body, she used 20 pixels. So any place that he's developing and he see a header test and a body test, he's going to be putting that 20 pixels. You understand? So for a situation where you have like another session entirely, let me just accept in a situation where like a situation where you have like a different session, when you're doing your information architecture, you discover that some pages, a page can actually have different sections. Like this page now, there is like a hero section where you have service and offer. Beneath it, you see all, a section for all. The kind of space you put in between a different section to another different section. So that's what spacing help you to like know, and also help your designers to like implement your design properly. So the way spacing actually works, similar elements that are similar, like your navigation and content, can just have similar elements and just have smaller spacing, like that 2, 4, like that. Elements are not really closely related, can actually have a spacing of 20 and above, depending on the kind of design that you're working, the kind of product you are designing for. Is that clear? Okay, that's clear. And I need a verbal confirmation.
Okay, sorry, ma. I didn't know you were talking to me. I thought you were talking to the whole class. Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
All right. So the next thing we're going to touch now is iconography, icons. So we're going to like get different icon for our style guide. So I'll be able to like work with it. There are different ways that you can actually get icons. You can actually get from a plugin here in Figma. You can also get from Figma community, free UI kits, people that have actually like worked on the full design system. You can actually like get their icon out there and make use of it. But remember, it has to be consistent. No matter what you have started, you have to be consistent with it. So for icons, we know how to get plugin, I think. We are going to get icons manually and with plugins, and also going to explore icon path in the Figma community. So the different icon plugins that you can actually use. So let's just explore them here. Now go to the plugin and a manage plugin, and let's say Iconify. Yeah. So the moment you pick a particular icon pack, you have to continue with it. You don't start with Iconify, then you see another plugin and you go with it. So you have to make sure that the icon pack or the icon plugin that you're using have access to everything that you need for your design. So here we have, this is Iconify, this is what it actually looks like. You have material icon, depending on the one that you want to work with. You can actually pick your icon from here. So you just click and drag, yeah, or you can just import. So maybe you click on, let me click on an icon and click on import. It will come to my Figma, but I had to look for it, you know. Okay, let me just zoom out and look for it. Click here. Yeah, so it's either you import it or you click and drag. But remember, anytime that you start using a particular icon pack or icon plugin, you have to stick with it because different icon have their own uniqueness, and you have to like look for the one that is best suitable for you, and you have to work with it. So I'm just going to like go ahead and get other icon pack that you can use, like let's say feather icon. Yeah, feather icon, yeah. Yeah, so you can see Iconify layouts, the way the icon is actually structured is different from feather icon. So you have to like pick one and stick with it. So you also click and drag. Yeah, it's not working. It's actually slow. Okay, just click. I'm not sure you can drag. Just click and it will be on your Figma. So that's that. So if you are designing and you see a lot of icons that you want to use, for instance, you're designing like a music platform, you have to come here and look for the icons that you want to look for. They want to work with, sorry, like play. So you can just get the icons that you want to work with. Let's say search. You just have to search for it and you're good to go. Yeah. So there's another way to get your icons. That's the one I want us to use, because getting icon plugin can be very stressful, and most times you end up not being consistent because you have like different weights. Some icons are regular, some icons are bold, some icons are outlined. So I would like us to check Figma community and get icon pack that we can work with for our style guide. So I'll just go to our home here, go to Figma community. There's this popular one. So, I think view sat, yeah. Yes, yeah. Okay. All right. So once you open the icon packs, you can just go to Figma community and search for icons. You see a lot. So let's just go back and just search for icons. Then we'll see a lot. But I'm just comfortable using this particular one. So when you click on icon, you see a lot of icon packs that you can use. Then you can just work with it. But for this class, I'm just introducing us to a good icon that I've used in the past, and I feel like you can also explore it. But if you feel like it's not suitable for what you want to design, you can also go to the Figma community and check other icon pack. So once you search for ViewSAP, and the next thing you're going to see is open in Figma. You're going to see a page that contains a CTA button that says open in Figma. So once you click on it, automatically it opens in your Figma, and then you can make use of it. So you can also see people's comments, category. So for ViewSAC, we have bold, broken, bulk, icons, linear, and a lot of tags that you can actually use and search for ViewSAC. So I'm going to open it in Figma here. It's actually opening. Let's just give it time to open. So while we're waiting for it to open, let me check if there's any question. Okay, somebody said I should show a practical example using the wireframe we created previously. You don't still understand why developers will need such large space like 40 and 64. So if you're designing a website, your spacing has to like increase. You understand? If you're designing a mobile app, you have to like have a smaller space. Maybe you have 4, you have 8, you have 24 and all that. But for a website, you have to let it breathe, because websites contain a lot of session. For your landing page now, you have like testimonials about us and all that. So depending on what the kind of thing you're working on, this spacing here is not just for, you can actually use it for your web or your mobile app. So I hope that answers your question. Ijeoma, sorry. Please reply in the chat. Then I think Eberechi. All right, okay, that's good. The same way you name you. Let's just try this out. So, okay. Maybe I'll get back to you. Okay, this is what the result looks like for our icon. So we have opened it and let's see what we have here. Just if I got the right one. Okay, I'm not sure we got the right one, but we check again. Okay, we didn't get the right one. So let's check other icon pack out there. All right. Let's see icons. Let's check this one. I've gotten the right one exactly. Actually taking time. Okay, so this is user icon from the Figma community. So looking at this icon now, they have different variation. They have the linear, they have the bold. So I'm just going to zoom in so I will look at how each of the different variation of the icon. So this is the linear. So if you get an icon pack and you want to work with it, if you pick bold, you have to be consistent with bold. You have to like take the icons from bold. If you want your icons to be outlined, so this is how this linear looks. This is the layout. It looks like this. Name it linear. So any icon that you pick here is just a linear icon. Then when you go to bold, let's wait for it to load. Taking time.
Bona. Okay, right now.
So it's taking time to load. Okay. You just have to give it time. Okay, this is what the outline button, icon looks like. Let's just check it out. Then we can pick the one that we want to make use of. So one thing about icon pack, you have to separate different variation of this icon. Unlike the plugin, you just have the icons in your face. You may not really know the one that is bold and the one that is outline and the one that is linear. So that's why I always encourage beginners to actually get to use icon pack and all that. Because if you're using plugins, it might not really be consistent with your icons. Most times you don't really get the different variation of these icons that you're looking for. So we have seen what linear is and we have seen what outline is. I don't know why bold is taking time, but we don't have time. So I will just pick one. I'll just copy one variation, then we can work with it. I don't know. So I think we'll just work with linear. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy some or just copy all. Maybe if I'm working on a big project and I feel like I need all, but if I'm working on something that is money related bank, I can just come here and pick money, money icon. Maybe if I have like a location picture in mind, application or website, I can come here and pick location, depending on what you want. So I'll just pick some, then we'll continue. So I will just pick, let me say this side for now. I don't really know what I need, but I can always come back. But I just have to be in mind that I'm picking from linear and I'll have to continue picking from linear. So I'll just come here. So let's paste it here and see, okay. Actually, just sorry. Okay, so we have the different variation of our icon here. Can you guys hear me? Please, let's confirm. Please confirm that you can hear me, please. Okay, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, so we have our icons here. I know some people are going to be asking me, how do you make it a design system? So I just have to go back to the plugin. So one thing about Icon Pack is that they come as a component. Coming as a component is that they are saved in your assets, but we'll get to that. So will just show us how to like make it a component. So if I go to my asset here and yes, I'm able to see, I think I will just name this for me. So let's say icons. Yeah, so when you say for icons, you need all the icons that you have copied and pasted in your Figma. To do it manually, I'll just quickly show us now how to put it in our design system manually. So this one is as an icon part, it comes as a component. You don't have to go through the stress of like making it a component by yourself. But I'm going to show us how to make our icon for those of us that would like to be using the plugin. How to add it to our design system by making it a component. So I'll just arrange this in scattered. Okay. Okay, we are good. Okay, let's just get icons from the plugin and make it a component. If you're not following, please call my attention. So let's get an icon here. So let's say this icon. So to make any elements in your design, to add it to your design system, you can either make it a style or you make it a component. Making it a style means that you're going to be able to like use it all over and over again. Making it a component, somebody can actually use it without it breaking. You can actually use it like multiple times and another person can still come and use it. So to make an element a component, you have to click on that element. We're going to go in depth in components soon. You just, when you click on it and you see this shape here that says create components, once you when you click on it, it becomes like purple. It shows that, okay, components have been created. Let me go back. Created. And the way to know components, go to your layers, you see these four rectangles, actually, so that this is a master component. Well, I'm going to go in depth on components very soon. So they just stop there. So that's how to make an icon a component. So another person can actually come to your design system, to your design or your Figma board and make use of it without having any problem. So that's that about icons. So up next, we are going to touch typography, but I feel like this class is very quiet. It's that we don't understand or we understand very well. That's why we're not asking questions. Are we good to go? Okay. Okay, say lots of magic. Okay. Okay, I will just pause a bit and take questions before we move to typography. And so if you have any question, I quickly raise up your hand, like 10 minutes, just max 10 minutes. Then after the 10 minutes, then I will continue. Then the remaining question will ask at the end of the class. All right, so who is starting first? Ebubechi.
Hello, ma. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, I want to know how to get plugin for spacing.
Okay, there's no plugin for spacing. It's just like a guideline, a
Yeah.
guideline that actually says your developer, your fellow designer, the kind of spacing that you're supposed to put in between items. So there's no, it's something that you do manually. That's what they call the red box. I think it's an ancient way of doing it. Most times you're not the one that's going to make use of the spacing, like I said earlier. It's just for you to like give your developers. Most times you're not going to be in the Figma board directing them on what to do. So once you come to your design system and they see this spacing, right? They'll be able to understand, okay, she used or he used a multiple of 4. So anything they're going to do, they're just going to like check the design, then work with the multiple of 4. You understand? So there's no really like a plugin to generate. It's something that you, with your head, if you can do. Just that it's a design system. Most often you might not really use all of them. Just that knowing that you're not working alone, other people are going to be coming to your board, like the front end, the back end, and all that. Be coming to your board so that you don't have to be having back and forth meeting with them. They can just look at your design system and understand some things without having to like call you all the time to ask you questions. Is that clear?
All right, ma. But I hope when during this thing, you can still use grid for spacing.
You can still use grid, but for beginners, it's always advisable to like understand the spacing in between items. Then when you now advance, you can just use your hair. Like personally, I don't even make use of this spacing. So I already know the kind of spacing I want to put it in between elements that are related and all that. You understand? Okay, any other question?
No.
Okay. So we just Posat, I don't know, you just keep this your question. Once I'm once we go to auto layout, if you don't understand it, then I will answer you again. Yeah, but I won't forget. Okay, Uchenna, I have a question, please.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please, I want to know why do we have to use only one icon pack in a design? What if I can't get the particular icon I'm looking for when I'm using that pack? Do I have to go to another one? And I don't know. Why do we have to just use one icon pack?
You have to use only one icon pack to stay consistent. If an icon an icon designer, iconography designer, I've forgotten the name actually. You understand? The way I would do my icons is going to be different from the way you would do your icons, right? So that's why most times it's always best to stick with what you have started with. But there are actually icons that are similar that might not be obvious if you copy from another place. But it's actually very rare to see icons that are similar together. Like they look alike. You understand? That is why you see this icon pack, they have a whole lot of icons that you can use. Let me go back to here. You see this icon now. What are you looking for that you cannot find here? Are you designing anything money related? You can find different icons for money, whether files, arrow, users, any school, delivery, shop, and all that. So that is why icon pack, they actually like help you to find icons fast, because actually like they have separated it and they have said, okay, this is a bold icon, this is a linear icon, this is the outline icon. Unlike the plugin where you just have everything in your feed. You understand? So if you want to stick with the plugin, you can actually stick with, but you just have to like identify the one that is outlined, the one that is bold, the one that is shaded and all that, and work with it. But the best practice, so in order for you to work fast and actually save time, personally, I feel like icon pack actually do the work for you. Because a plugin, you have to start making it a component and all that. Just having to left click every time to look for
Yes, thank you.
particular icon is very stressful. With icon pack, immediately you just copy it and you paste it in your design. You can just use it anytime that you want. Okay, Ijoma, you have a question.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
So while making our own designs, are we supposed to copy out these icons and place them on our screen just the way you've done here, or it's just for the sake of the class you're doing it?
Okay, so when you start designing, you see these pages that we have here. You understand? You're going to
Yes.
name them properly. Maybe the first page is going to be your mood board, where you get inspiration from. The second page can actually be your style guide. The third depend. You just have to like document properly. To be a good designer, you must actually be able to document. Anything that I use, I was able to like put it there. The same way you're working in a group. So if I use like a certain icon, and maybe Uchenna is working with you and he wants to use a certain icon again, and he goes and I use a different variation of that icon. Your design might not really be consistent. You understand? That is why anything that you make a component, you have to like stick with it, or you can always add and just stick with it. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, I think that's all. So let's continue. Okay, Angel, I'll just take your question, then we'll continue. Okay, go ahead.
Wow. Good evening.
Angel, if you can hear me, go ahead. Good evening. Can you hear me? Please, is it my network? I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure she's here. So we'll just continue. Please, Angel, you can type it in the chat. All right, so the next thing we are going to look at is typography. So while I'm getting this session for the typography, can somebody just tell me what you understand by typography? Just one person. Please, can everybody hear me? Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
All right. Okay. Okay, moving forward, we are going to look at typography. And does anybody remember what I said about typography, what typography is? Okay, Sunday.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, when we talk about typography, I think it talks about arrangement of letters. Talk about spacing, letter spacing, length, and space between pairs of letters. So basically, that's what it's all about. It's a technique of arranging your um, objects in a readable and appealing way to your users.
Okay. Any other person? Thank you, Sunday. Okay, Chena.
Typography, good evening, everyone. Typography, to my own understanding, is when you arrange the letters, make use of letters, the font, the line spacing, to make it readable and accessible to your pen. You also use typefaces, just the typefaces, the fonts and everything, and the line spacing as well.
Okay, you guys are not far from me. Actually, typography is the use of letters, use of fonts, use of typeface to communicate clear information, hierarchy to your users, and also represent your brand personality. Also help to like emphasize emphasize your header, your body text, and all that, and also help your users to like understand the kind of content you're putting in your design. That's like a head definition. I think I've given you guys like a full definition of what typography is. Thank you so much, Uchenna, and thank you so much, Sunday. So before we continue with typography, so I would like to introduce properly different categories of fonts. So I'll just quickly go to Figma fonts here. So we have different types of fonts and typeface that you can use. All right. So under typography, we have what we call font, typeface, and typography itself, and also font family and that. So I am going to touch base on everything. So under the classification of fonts, we have different, like we have six classification of fonts. We have the sans serif fonts, we have the serif fonts, we have the monospace fonts, we have the slab serif fonts, we have the script fonts, and we have the handwriting fonts. Each of these fonts have its own unique characteristics, right? But I'm not really going to go in depth, so I'm going to send this in the channel so that we can be able to read and understand. For each of these font classification, we have different typeface in them. So I'll just open sans serif fonts, and then we see different. So under sans serif fonts, we have open sans fonts and Josephine fonts and Ubuntu fonts and all that. So each when you categories of fonts, we have 5 classification of fonts. The just the sans serif, the serif, the monospace, the script, the handwriting, and all that. Inside all of them, you have a different typeface, and actually typeface is more like a family of fonts. Family of fonts, yes. Then you have fonts. So font is all about a specific style and size that you give a typeface. I don't know how to say this line. Okay, so for a typeface like Open Sans, when I pick Open Sans as a typeface, which I say is a family of fonts here, and I go to my Figma and I start giving Open Sans regular, Open Sans medium, Open Sans bold, and all that. Open Sans regular, maybe say 12 pixel and all that. I'm not creating a font. Like I said, the font is a specific style and size of a typeface. Yes. Is that clear? Okay. I think my network is not strong. So for most just quickly go back and just so for serif fonts, they actually like they have small line stroke attached to the end of them. They're actually like very beautiful that you can actually use for your header text. Then for sans serif, they identified by small stroke decorating the end of the longer stroke. I think I'll just open one and see. Okay. Okay, somebody said, what's the difference between typeface and font style? Okay, so typeface is a family of fonts, like under the font category. And I said that we have sans serif, serif, and all that. We have like 6 classification of fonts. Then when you pick a particular type, category like sans serif, and you get a font, sans serif can just have like up to 20 typeface. A good example is this Open Sans that we say, and Joseph Sans. So once you pick one, right, it's a typeface. So this Open Sans is a typeface, but it's under a family of fonts. And we say we have 6 classification of fonts. Once you pick Open Sans is a typeface. To actually make it a font, now you have to start putting maybe a regular, medium, bold, and maybe attach number to it, and the font size and all that. Now you can actually say you have a font. Tosin, is that clear? Okay. So you can actually go to Figma fonts, and you see different types of fonts there and the category that they fall under. Then you can also see fonts that can actually be paired together. So this is Open Sans and Montserrat. They actually work close together. So you have the fonts, then you have the font weight. Under the font weight, you have bold, regular, and that is for Open Sans. Under Montserrat, you also have regular, bold, and regular, bold, and regular. What is correct? Yeah, so you have different widths. So the moment you start adding font size and font width to a particular typeface, you're not creating your font from there. I don't know if that is clear now. Okay, that's clear. So you actually go to Figma fonts and you get different fonts and know the kind of categories, and you also see like a test actually say when they can be used. Like sans serif fonts actually good for serif fonts actually good for header text because of its characteristics. Then sans serif fonts actually used for body text. So I will give you the article to read more about different types of different classification of fonts and the typeface under each of them. So that's that about that. So we are going to go ahead and create we're going to go ahead and pick a typeface and create different fonts for them. Okay. So this is typography. So in design, in front-end development, we have what we call H1 to H6. And I say that the H1 is the largest font size and the H6 is the smallest. So in your design, you can actually like have headers, body text, sub-body text, small text, label text, depending on the kind of product that you're working on. So I will just quickly create a small style guide for our typography. Then you can go ahead and do the remaining ones. And if you have any question, you can always reach out to me. I'll answer you. So I'm going to go and use our test tool and just write, let me just zoom in. I'm going to write a heading 1. So I'm just going to go big. So let's say it's a web. I'm just going to go all big. I don't want to do for mobile. So let's go all out. Let's go all out for our typography. Yeah. Actually, like doing for web first so that I can actually get my mobile fonts from there. So for our web, let me say our H1 can be multiple of 4. Let's say 64. Okay, it's actually big here. It's looking big because yeah, okay, this is okay. Okay, we'll go to 64. This is our H1. So I'm going to quickly duplicate this and so this is our heading 2. So I'm going to reduce it to 56. Yeah. So like that. So I'm just going to put this in auto layout so that we make it a little bit faster. This is our H1. This is our heading 3. So this heading 3 now we're going to leave it as 48. Okay. 48. So this is our heading 4. So we're going to use as the 40, if I'm correct. Then this is our heading 5. So let's say 40, let's say 32. So this is 24 for our H6. So actually, you can actually go ahead and create, I'm just going to duplicate this now. I'm going to actually go ahead and do our body test. Body test. You can actually go all out when you're doing you can actually have like subheading and all that, then notes. So body test now, you can actually go down as 16 and 16. Yeah. So these are going to go down as let's say 12. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to increase the spacing in between. Because if you don't understand auto layers, I'm going to introduce it very soon. So stay with me. So we have the kind of heading that we are going to use. But now this black here is not our black from our design system earlier. So we are going to change it to the black that we made our black. So I'm just going to change this to our black. So I'm going to, so now we're using inter. So inter is a typeface. So let's use a popping, sorry. Popping. Okay. I'm just going to put, we're going to use a typeface for all of them. Then when I start working on, I'm going to use, so to get different typeface in Figma, I'm just going to like highlight all the headings, the text. So you have to go here and you see all the fonts that are available. You can also install. I'll teach us how to install very soon. You can also install and add it to your Figma. So let's just use Inter since for now. I think we missed one. So yeah, it's also Inter. So we are good to go. So we are going to add different weights and we have added font size to it. So we are going to add different weights to it. Then we are good to go. Please, are we following? Are we following? Okay. Only one person is following. All right. Please, if you have any question, please ask me. Yeah. So okay. So we're just going to do the regular we're going to add weights to them. So you have thin, you have extra light and all that. So for this class, we're going to just work with regular, medium, and bold. Then depending on what you're working on, you can also explore other options available. Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and put all of them in regular. Yeah, I think all of them are in regular currently. Yes. Then I'm just going to increase the spacing between them. So let's name this one regular. Yeah. So I'm going to duplicate this, Control D. I'm going to make this semi bold. Yes, I'm going to come here and I'll change. Okay, let's do medium first before semi bold. Medium. Medium, yeah. So the next one we're going to do semi bold. I'm going to still highlight them, all of them at once, and just change it from here as semi bold. Yeah. So the last one we're going to do now is bold. So let me just change it to semi bold. Yeah. And then I want to change this one to bold. Okay, so come here and change it to bold. So we are good to go. Yeah. So let's look at what we are going to do next. I think I'll just increase the spacing in between to 60 so that they breathe properly. I'm just going to copy all of them. Sorry. Put this spacing in between to 60. You can tell me what I can do next in the chat. What I should do next. Okay. No, we are not done. We have not made it a style. Yeah, we have not made it a style. Okay, I think somebody asked about I think line height chart. Yeah. So actually add line height. There's actually like a rule of thumb that it's a heading, bigger fonts, you can add so there's actually like a way to go about it. So I'm just going to just show us a particular example just because we're beginners. I didn't really want to go in depth for now. So Vera, if you want to add line height, there's actually like a way to do add line height to your fonts. If it's actually like a bigger heading, a bigger text, we actually do. It's not always like perfect. You just have to like find what is suitable for you. But actually like a way to go around. For fonts, a bigger font, you can actually make the line height to be 120%. It's just like a rule, but it does not work for everybody. Yeah. So 120%. Yeah. Then if it's another way to do it is this 64 times a golden ratio, and the golden ratio is that's why I don't want to go far for now. Just want to introduce style guide then. When we move times 1.68. Yeah, so that's it. Another way to, for smaller fonts like 16 or 16, see, it might not really work for them. So you have to go down to 140, sorry, 140%. Yeah. So for bigger fonts, you can use your line height as 120%. For smaller font like 16, you can actually do 140. Some people actually do 160. Then there's another way to do it is to multiply your font size by 1.618, which is a golden ratio. So, and you can you can always work with auto. Auto is actually like not bad for us to use current now. Actually, they work with auto height, and you are good to go. So Vera, is that clear? All right. So that's, you just have to find what's best for you, because it might actually be working for me based on what I'm designing for. It might not really work for you. So it's either you add 140% to smaller fonts and 120% to bigger fonts, or you multiply your font size by your by 1.618. That is a golden ratio. Yeah, I can just stick with all since we are all beginners. Yeah, for now. So next we are going to make it a style. We're going to add it to our style system. So to add it to our style system, the same way that we did with color. Once you click on the text that you want to add, you want to make a style, you see these 4 dots here, you click on it, you see this add. Once you click on add, you can now, so let's just say heading 1 slash, let's say H1. Depending on the naming convention that you want to work with, this is what I want to work with. Actually, name it heading 1, heading 2, and you're good to go. Let's say regular. So you have to also know the kind of naming convention that you want to name your element. So I'm just going to copy this, right? I'm going to make it create a style. Maybe I create a style is in our local style as heading 1, H1. I can always use it. So let me just go ahead and do for the second one. So click on the 4 button. I'm just going to change this now to heading 2. Yeah, we're good to go. So we're going to do this heading 3. Heading 3. I think I made a mistake in the other one. I didn't change this to H3. I'm going to go back to here and edit it. Where's that? Yeah, I think it's this. So I'm going to edit it from here. Okay. Heading 1, heading 2. Okay, we are good to go. I named it properly. And for the fourth one, just see heading 4. We're good to go. Like that. So heading 5. So I'll just do for the regular. Then we continue. I want to do for all of them. We won't leave here today. So this is heading 6. Yeah. So the next one we have is our body test. So I'm going to come here and do body test slash regular. So regular. Wait, sorry. I'm just going to copy this 2 more times. The next thing we're going to do, we have our small test. It can actually be our label test, the smallest test in our website or our mobile app. So let's say small test regular. Sorry. Okay, we are good to go. So anything that you make a style to appear in your local style by the left, and you can always make use of it. So you can go ahead and do for medium, semi-bold, and bold. So that's that about typography. Is any question, any confusion before we touch auto layout and buttons? Okay, no question. Are we following? Please let's indicate. Okay, we are not following. Okay, we are following. Okay, Angel, go ahead.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
You said I should put my question on the chat. You have not answered me. I said, how can we save our elements on the components?
How can we save our elements on the
Our
components?
element on the component to become a component. Because
Okay.
you are clicking so many things. So
All right.
just
stay with me, yeah? Are you with
thank
me?
you. Okay.
Okay. So the example I gave that time, I used a font to give that example. So I'm just going to like pick, maybe say a shape or, okay. So let's just work with this for now. But I'm going to still walk you over components when I'm talking about auto layout. So you have this. Let me just say, this is your icon, this is your button, this is your text, this is anything that you want to work with, right? The moment you click on it, right, you see on top here, can you see my cursor?
Yes, ma'am.
You see create component. The moment you click on it, the color changed to purple. And you know, to actually know that the component, the color is purple, and you see that you see the way the dot is actually slanted. It actually shows that this is a master component, but I'm going to add that for now. But is this clear for now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, we are good to go. All right, any other question? Okay, we are clear. Okay. Let's go ahead. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to, how many of us are familiar with auto layouts? Please, if you're familiar with auto layouts, indicate in the chat. But if you're not familiar, so if you're familiar, say, yes, I'm familiar. If you're not familiar, I'm not familiar. Just need, okay, just one person. Okay. Hello is also familiar. Okay. We'll just touch it briefly, then with time we will get familiarize ourselves with it. All right. I just want to introduce auto layouts briefly before we do our boxing, so that it will not look like I'm doing a different thing. Somebody said I was doing, okay. So I'm just going to duplicate this frame here. I'm going to put it below, sorry. So let's name this auto layout. Auto layout is not an atom. It's not a molecule. It's not an organism. It's just like a way to do your work faster. Instead of using group, we are going to be making use of auto layout. So somebody will go and put auto layout for me in a design system. It's just like a technique to work with. Other ones, okay, so I'll just use a small example, and I will not go deep. So I'm going to take a frame here. I'm going to take a frame. I'm going to change the color to, let's say, red. Okay. Then, this will not work. So I'm going to take like a shape here. This is like the olden way of doing stuff. So I'm going to, let's use our secondary color. See why design systems actually good. You can always use this anytime that you want. I don't know if this can actually do the work. Okay. So this is perfect. Yes. So this is perfect. Okay. So this, I'm going to demonstrate with group and auto layout so that we'll be able to like understand and know why auto layout is a way to go for us in this class. Yes. So I'm still going to change I took a frame, okay, I think an eclipse, and I'm going to name it. I'm going to change the height and the 360. Yeah. So for this, I'm going to use our blue. Okay, let's work with I don't really do the work. So let's work with okay, our light color here. Then I'm going to add auto layout to it. So add auto layout to any element is Shift A. Or you can also left click to see add auto layout. So either you use a shortcut Shift A, or you left click and you add auto layout. So I'm going to click on Shift A. I think I'm going to okay, this is 1776 okay. See. 1776. And this is 1124. 1124. Yeah. Right. So let's say I want to send this is a circle, this is a rectangle, and I'm going to like highlight all of them and add them in a group. To add elements in a group is Control G. Yeah, I've made it a group. And this is an auto layout. So this is auto layout. I'm just going to, this is just auto layout. Yeah. So if I want to move this eclipse here, I need to like move it manually. I need to like, if I want it to be in the center, I have to keep dragging and see the red line, and I'll keep it in the center. If I want to keep it up, I need to drag it up. If I want to keep it side, I need to do it manually. So I'm just going to change the background of this to our, so here, our, yeah. So one sweet thing about auto layout, it helps you to like adjust your elements easily without having to like move and start looking for where to find the red line and all that. So if I click on this auto layout frame that I've created, you see it's left aligned. If I put it in the center, automatically it's in the center. Anywhere I want to put it in, it should just be there for me. So that is just like a difference between grouping elements and putting it in auto layout. So auto layout is the way to do it because it's faster and actually help your elements to be responsive. Actually help your elements to like adjust with no matter what you put in these elements, it's just going to keep like expanding and all that. Make your element to be responsive. Unlike this one, I have to like do everything manually and all that. I just hope that's like the basic way to like explain it. Then I'm just going to go deeper now. What's happening? I'm going to delete this now. Yes. Okay. So auto layouts actually help you to like make your design to be responsive. Actually help your elements to like adjust to a container. So putting an auto layout is like working with a container that is actually flexible. They can actually put anything inside without like having to spoil your design or break your design. So I'm going to take that's the similar example that we worked with here. I'm going to take yeah. I'm going to take this and I'm going to zoom in. For this, I'm going to make it let's see. I'm going to add auto layout to it. So with auto layout, I can add a color to my frame. Once you make an element and auto layout, it comes as a frame here. So even if it's a rectangle and I make an auto layout, it's going to appear in the left panel as a frame. So I'm going to add our color. This is color. Let's say working with, yeah. So with auto layout, you can adjust the spacing, horizontal spacing between items. Like if I put another, for instance, I put another design here, it's going to tell me that the space between this and this is 10. You understand? I can always adjust it if I want to, and if I can, depending on what I want to work with. Then you have the vertical, sorry, you have the horizontal padding. This is a padding from this element to the end of the frame. Then you have your horizontal padding, which is padding from here to here, top and bottom and all that. Then you also have a place that you can actually add individual padding. If you want to add only on the left side, if you want to add on the right side, if you want to add left padding and top padding and all that. And you can also like make your elements to be center aligned and all that. So I'm just going to increase the padding. So we're going to just, if we increase the padding as a whole to affect everything, let's just say 100. Let's say 100. Yes. If I want this, okay. So this, you see, I'm going to reduce this to like 40, the vertical padding and all that. So this is what auto layout helps you to do. There's another feature that you can actually play around with auto layout with. So I'm going to just duplicate this and bring it down. So the moment I add, it keeps adjusting for me, depending on the kind of, without it having to break. But if it's a group, the moment I add one and add two, the next thing is out of the frame. I'm going to like, I'm going to remove one again. Then with auto layout, you can actually make your design to be responsive to And you can also, once you put your elements in auto layout, you can actually like adjust it here to fit all container and all that. But we are going to look at that briefly. So for now, is that clear? I would like us to touch our button before we continue with auto layout. With time, we'll familiarize ourselves with auto layout and also how to do responsive design with auto layout. Okay, just one person. Are we good to go? All right. Just 2 people. That's really bad. Okay, so we're going to do our button now. So with buttons, we are going to be working with components and variants to make a button part of your style guide. We are going to make it a component and we're going to use different variants of it. So I'm going to explain that. So to make our button, for buttons, we have different states of our button. We have the default state. Let me just quickly type that here. So we have small button, medium button, large button, and all that. That is when you're working for a large design system. But for this class, we're just sticking to the basics. So we're just going to work with different states of the button where we have default, we have active, we have hover, we have disabled, we have links, we have outlined. They're different. We're just going to stick with 1, 2, 3, 4. This says it's outlined. Yes. So we're going to just quickly do a button for them. So the normal thing to do is that the way you have your colors from where we started, you're supposed to have different colors of your button for all the buttons that you have selected. That is when you're working for a big project that someone is going to use over time. For this class, we're just going to work for let's say primary button. Our primary button, the primary is white, so I'll just work with the blue. So we'll start with that for now. Okay, so I'm going to take my test tool here. I'm going to write button. Yeah, so I'm going to change it to our font size that we choose. I'm going to go down to our regular, which is 16, and I'm going to change the color to our black and picked in our last class. Yes. Now that I have my button here, I'm going to go ahead and add auto layout to it. So I'm going to say Shift A. If I add auto layout, I'm going to name the frame button, right? If I name it here, it reflects here. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and add our color, button color, which is this color. And I'm going to go, because of, I can't really, I need to change it to white so that it's more visible. I'm going to change the button text to white. Then we have our button here. But you know, there are different types of button. There are different, we have round button, button with corner radius, sharp end button. But I'm going to add the corner radius of 8 here. So for buttons, when it comes to mobile design, you have to check for the people that you are designing for. If it's people with you have to check if your users have big thumb and all that. But actually, like an ideal button size that you can use, you can actually start from 40, 44, and all that. So you have the small, the medium, the large, right? So I can actually go down to 40 here. So let's say our button is 40. I'm going to come here and I'm going to, let's say 8, since there was a multiple of 4. Our horizontal padding to be 8 and our vertical padding, I can actually still use 8, which is still okay, depending on what you want. But just make sure that your buttons are not too big. For a mobile, you can actually use 40, 44, 48 to 56. I think 56 should be the biggest button that you have. I think 32 should be the smallest button that you have. If it's smaller than that, people might not really identify it as button. If it's bigger, they might not really like appreciate it. It's like more like a banner to their face and all that. So you have to understand what your users want and know what is best suitable for them. So we have our button here. So this is going to be our default button. But first, I would like our button to have icon, both iconless and icon right. So when you want to give direction to your users, right? So I'm going to go to our accent and use the color that the icons that we got. For let's say arrow. I don't know if we got arrow. So yeah, we got arrows. So I'm going to drag and keep here for now. Then I'm going to, okay, let's look for another one. I'm going to, yeah. I'm going to measure one thing about also layers. Anything I put on it, this button is going to adjust to anything I put on it. If I want to put 70 things here, it's going to like adjust to it and all that, depending on how I want my button to respond. So I'm going to drag this and put it here, and it's going to respond. I'm going to change the color to our so the icon actually came with its own color, so you have to like change it to your particular color. Then I'm going to also drag this and put here, yes, and change the color to white for accessibility's sake, yes. Okay, we are good to go. So we have our button. The next thing we are going to do now is we are going to make it a component. To make it a component, I need to come up here and click on it and create components. I've created a component. If I go to my assets and I search for button, I should be able to see my button. There's a button. Yeah, see our button here. And always use it. Yes. So let's just name it KodeCamp. I think I have other buttons here. Sorry. Yeah. So if I come here and say KodeCamp, I'll be able to take it and use it anytime I want. But that's not what we want. We want to create different states of our button, the active state, the default state, the hover state, and all that. We're going to create all the states. So for now, but I would like to introduce us what we call Boolean property. Okay, so let's introduce us what we call Boolean property. Boolean property will actually help your users. For users that don't want to use the icon, for users that just want to use the icon, just the way of reducing the kind of element that you have in your Figma. So I really like us to pay attention, and if you want me to go over it again, I'll go over it again. So to create, once you have made it a component, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to add a Boolean property to it and swap instance to your icon. Swap instance is going to make you to change this icon, especially when I don't want to put arrow here and I want my users to like add to cart. I should be able to change this icon to add to cart. So once I click on it, right? And I've made it a component. The next thing I will click on the individual element inside this button. The first thing we're going to click on is our icon. So for an icon, you're going to see this arrow that says create instance swap property. The moment I click on it, I will just create. It's just for you to click on it and create. Meaning that I can here select other icons I want to work with in case I don't want to use arrow. Maybe in a state that I want my user to add to cart, I'll create instance. I'll go to the second arrow and I will do the same thing. You see create property. Once I click on it, I'll see create property. That's instance 2 property. Yeah. Then the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to make this a Boolean property. Boolean property helps you to like toggle on and off, right? So when I click on this arrow, the first thing I did was to make it a swap instance for me to be able to like swap my icons anytime I want. The next thing I want to do is now to make it a Boolean property. In your left panel, you see layer. Yeah. So once you click on this arrow, create Boolean property, you'll be able to see you have option of true or false. So this true, if I put it in true, that means I want this arrow to be there when I'm designing the button. But for the purpose of this class, I'm going to just turn everything off. Then after I will show us how it's being used. So I'm just going to, for the first arrow, that's the arrow left, I'm going to make it false. Then I'm going to create a property. The arrow is not there. Then for the second one, I'm going to still do the same thing, create property, and I'm going to put it, you can actually put it as true or false. Just I want to put my own as false. You can put it as false and you create. So we have our button here. And this button now is our master component. Anything I change in this button will reflect across. Yeah, so let me just quickly take the button again and just show us. So if I change the color of this button from here, that means I change it to red, it's going to reflect here. That is why you create master component. The moment you touch on master component, everything will have to like change back to everything has to respond to the master component that you have made change to. So I'm going to go back to our blue. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to create variants. Variants is more like children of the master component, right? So I'm going to create variants. So the same place that you went and you created components, you're still going to go there to create variants, or you click on it and you see on the left panel, where's that? Okay. Okay, so the same place that you click to create your components, you can still go up here to create variants. So maybe to click on it. So the first one, I'm going to name it our default button because this default button means that a button that it stays without being clicked or without being hovered on. You understand? So most times you're not going to be designing with all the buttons, just for your developers to know how your buttons are to respond to when users are when users are using the product or the app. So for a default button that have not been clicked, nothing have happened, mouse have not entered the button are just at state. Then so we're going to name this so we're going to name our property. Please name your property button, right? So the first one we named it default. The second one we're going to name it active. So what happened when someone clicks on the button? So we're going to use our let's say we're going to use our 40 for now. Just because our style guide is normal, so I'm just going to make use of what is available. So the next thing, if I want to create another variant, I'm going to click here and create variant. I'm going to use this plus here. So either you go up or you go down. So I'm going to just use the down one now. Then, so this is our, so you still have to go to the property and name it active button, active. So this one, this one is our hover button. We're going to, hover should actually like, maybe Okay, yeah, it becomes lighter. Some actually hovers can actually become darker. Just for my own style, for my own design, I just want it to be lighter. So I'm going to name this hover. So the next thing I'm going to do, we're going to create another variant, and I'm going to so this is our default default active hover. So the next one we're going to do is disable. And one of the properties of disable buttons are gray. That's why we need that accent color. So let's say disabled. Yes. And I'm going to go to our color and I'm going to use our gray. Remember, we didn't make different variation of our gray. So I'm just going to use the one that's available. But if you made different variation from your own end, you can actually like go with a lighter or a better gray than my own. Yeah. So this is a disabled button. The next thing we're going to do now is a linked button, sorry. So for linked button, we don't have frame. So I'm going to change this text here to our text color. So I'm going to change this to disabled. This one is linked. I'll attend to all questions very soon. The next thing we have here is outlined. So for outline, I'm going to add our fill bars. Okay, we don't need a fill, we need like a stroke for outline button. Go to our stroke here. I'm going to change it to our color that we're using. And then our button, we are good to go. So remember when you're doing a bigger design system, you have to put different variation of this button. You have a small button that can be 32. You also have like a big button a medium button that can actually be 40. Then you have like a large button that can actually be 56. Just because of time, you just have to like work with one. So let's name this our medium button. Let's just say medium here. Medium. Yeah. So yeah. So we are done with our button now. So if you are designing, let me go and use a frame here. Let's use an iPhone frame here. And we want to make use of our button. I'm just going to zoom in so that we see it. Yes. So now the sweet thing about auto layout, and I can from my right panel, I can always change the state of the button. If I want it to be hover, the color will change. If I want to add the arrow here, I'll add the arrow. If I want to turn the arrow, if I also want to change the arrow, I can change it to anything I want from here. Like that. Any question if I continue? Then if I want to change it to disabled, I can change it to disabled. If I want to turn off the icon, I can turn it off. If I want to put it in active button, I can put it in active button. If I want to type anything, I want to type hello designers. Your button will keep adjusting to what you want. So this button is a hug button. It's hugging to whatever I put. If I make it fit, you have to like stay to the normal size. Yeah, so you have to like find the size that is best suitable for you and you work with it. Any question before I continue? All right, Vincent, where should I slow down from? Okay, please, I want to confirm that we are clear and we understand. Are we clear? All right. Okay. What's happening? Any question? Okay, we are good. Super smart too. All right. Okay, so since we are good, so I'm going to we're going to call it a night here. We'll continue in our next class. Yeah, so just continue. Let's just stop here for today.